And before we get to the list, and Doc's got some great material that we need to get to here, including what tattoos could do to you.
Oh, boy.
I need to thank Dr. Kevin most publicly. What a great host. What a generous guy. He had me out to play golf with our pals, Larry and Maddie, yesterday.
Nice.
And
how'd you do?
Great. Well, I hit a couple of good shots. Most of them weren't so good. But that was fun, Doc.
It was. It was great. It was a beautiful day, too. Think about it. We were going to play Saturday during the monsoon, and we fortunately got a nice day Sunday, and it was fun. It was fun to spend a couple hours with all you guys. We had a good time.
Think about what that does for your health, because you're seeing an old friend that you haven't seen in a long time. So you've got camaraderie, you've got sunshine, you got your vitamin D, you're active. I mean, that's really a great healthy habit boost.
And Doc will never admit this, but he's a good kisser. So.
And Jane, I'll tell you that the other two guys, Larry Ryan and Matty Hogan, have been friends of mine for over 50 years. So we go way back to when we were little kids caddying. So it's kind of special.
The thing too about Matty Hogan was a steel magnet. He was a bigwig, big steel guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
has a very successful career in steel, and he retires. You know what he's doing now? Caddying. Loves it.
It's
great exercise. Loves it. Sees people all the time. I just don't know how many people get his bag and go, I'm talking to a guy who killed it in the steel business.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
Hey, and we had some great caddies too yesterday. Shout out to them.
Yeah, Sean, Joe, Joey, the youngest caddy, an 8th grader who was ripping on Doc the entire time.
Yeah.
And my caddy, James Decker Murphy, who ought to be a country singer with that name, but he was a great kid, and he's going to be a senior at Wheaton South. Yeah, just a great day, man. I appreciate it. Now, Jane went golfing yesterday.
I went golfing yesterday. I killed it. I killed it, too. I did great.
How much you shot?
A 147.
Yeah, you did kill it. You killed something, that's for sure, yeah.
And
this is the thing. I haven't golfed in over a year, and I said if I make contact with the ball and hit one good hit per hole, then I've accomplished something.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that. Otherwise, I was like, are we playing croquet?
The people that you were playing with, or more importantly, the people that were behind you, did they find it as amusing?
No, they were fine, very patient. One of the other people we were playing with was my coach. He was like, keep your head down. Keep your head down. Yeah. It was good. But I was using men's clubs, and I have like a...
You have a golf wound.
I have a golf wound.
The butt of the club bruised
It was fun, and they make it look real easy on TV.
Yeah, it's a hard game. Yeah. No, it's a very hard game.
Hey, Steve, go back to talk about our caddies. How about a West Point graduate caddying for us that's getting ready to go to medical school in 2 months?
Well, but it goes to the big picture, and you've talked about it a million times. What a great job summer caddying is. And in particular, the foundation that got you a college education, got your brother Brad a college education. You can't say enough about it. So why don't you plug caddying for a minute?
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. But you think about that. Even for us yesterday, here's Joey, an 8th grader, and he is sitting there, and he spent 4 hours with a West Point grad teaching him more about the game, more about how hard it is to show up for work every day and show up on time and have a good attitude. And I can't say enough about it. I can't say enough about the kids that we're fortunate to have in Chicago Golf. But really, it's a great job. And like you said, I was very fortunate. Larry Ryan was very fortunate. He was an Evans Scholar as well. It's life-changing, and really it just teaches you a good work ethic. It teaches you how to talk to adults when you're in 8th grade. You're not afraid of talking to a doctor or a lawyer. It's a wonderful.
And you'll meet all kinds. You'll meet all kinds, and you'll learn how to handle yourself.
Yeah. You'll meet some jerks, and you'll meet some really nice people, and it's a great job that people might laugh at, but I'll tell you. Those kids went home with a handful of cash and a lot of memories, and also just another, chink in the armor as far as, hey, I learned something today about hard work.
You're not going to get kicked out of Chicago Golf for having me there, will you? I mean, they're not going to throw you out or anything.
I don't think they'll throw me out. I think it'll just be a letter or two. But yeah.
Man, what a beautiful course that is. It's a great golf course. Every pro that comes to town wants to play that course.
Oh.
Yeah, always has. Oldest course west of the Mississippi. It's like the Augusta of Chicago. So thanks again, Doc, for that. All right, now let's move over here to Tom for a second. Tom was on death's door for 3 days last week.
Dude, you're seriously overselling.
So, Doc, when I come in this morning, remember yesterday you and I were talking about Andrea being sick. So I come in this morning and I go, well, 3 days. I said, what did the doctor say? He goes, I didn't go to a doctor. I don't need no stinking doctors. Damn. So I think it's a perfect opportunity, Doc, for you to say, what is the appropriate time to go to a doctor?
Yeah, and I talked to Tom, and, he took Friday off because he just wanted to get away from you guys. He's so fine.
No, but I mean, if you're not feeling good, if you're running a fever, you're not feeling good, or in his case, he couldn't eat or get out of bed, isn't it the time to make a phone call? I'm just saying.
Well, make a phone call is one thing, but for him, with his symptoms, and he's a smart guy. He knew exactly. We had a discussion.
He's not that smart.
He knew exactly, hey, I needed to force liquids. I needed to get rest. I needed to keep my fever down. Mm-hmm. So, if this was still going on Saturday or Sunday, yeah. Mm-hmm. But, he did exactly what was right. And the other thing that I really like about what Tom did, he didn't come to work on Friday. Mm-hmm. So that you guys are be able to come to work on Monday. People go to work sick and they feel like I have to be there, when in fact they should be home, taking care of themselves, and not spreading the illness that they have.
No, you're exactly right. But tough guy Tom this morning acted like he didn't talk to anybody. He talked to one of the best doctors in the world. He talked to Dr. Mose.
Right.
We talked just now, Steve. Just now.
He didn't call him when he was sick. But the one thing Tom did do is he did come to work initially when he did not feel well enough, but then he went home. So that was smart. That was smart.
He licked my cheek, which I didn't understand.
Yeah, usually I don't do that, but I felt compelled.
It's very weird.
Well, and I tell you guys all the time, you have my phone number. Mm-hmm. You can call me at any time. But
that's very nice.
Tom's too polite.
Yeah, I don't have that issue.
Yeah.
But, Doc, for people that wonder when they should call, you've always said, you got to listen to your body. Certainly there's hypochondriacs who will call when they, get a hangnail. But if you're having trouble functioning, there's nothing wrong with a call to the doctor.
Oh, not at all. And especially if your symptoms are getting worse. After a day or two of a we'll just say a influenza, a bad cold, a bad virus, you should start to see your body getting better. As long as you're able to do all the things, keep your fluids up, keep your fever down. Tom was dehydrated. Why? He had no appetite, didn't want to eat or drink anything, had a fever, so he's losing fluids there, and not able to keep his, keep fluids down. That's dehydration point. And fortunately, if you can get ahead of it, that's great. But if not, you do need to get in because we're going to fill up your tank with an IV if your dehydration is really bad.
Whooping cough, the measles, asthma, and is there a link between tattoos and cancer? Those and even more laughs when we come back. Thank you, Doc. Stand by. Dr. Kevin Most. We'll go right to the lightning round. Jane's got some measles questions, but let me start with whooping cough. Whooping cough, Doc. Is that the sound whooping cough makes? You just go into whoop, there it is?
Yeah, that's where the song came from.
I didn't know that. So the numbers are up?
Yeah, they are. It was kind of interesting. During COVID, all of our numbers for infectious diseases came down, right? Influenza for those 2 years was almost non-existent. Whooping cough dropped dramatically as well. Now we're coming back to the pre-COVID numbers of whooping cough. And the reason to talk about it is that we need to make sure that our immunizations are up to date to protect others. So, especially people like you, you're a grandfather. You go to see your newborn grandchild, you want to make sure that you're protected from this illness that can do so much damage to young kids that are not immune yet. So it's really more of an awareness thing. We saw outbreaks in University of Iowa years ago that told us, hey, you know what? our immunization, we need to change that. We need to bring pertussis back into the immunization. So when you used to just get your tetanus update, you didn't need it. Now we're finding out, hey, wait, whooping cough does not give us lifelong protection. So now when you get your tetanus update, you're getting the whooping cough vaccine as well.
People don't often keep great records on whether or not they've had it or haven't. Is there a general database that keeps those kind of things?
There is. Your doctor should have it obviously in their records. And right now with the electronic medical record, we are much more accurate. Think about days when we were on paper and it was written down somewhere. Where is that? Now, at least, you should be able to go on to, if you have MyChart, go on to MyChart and look to see when your last one was. And if it's been in the last 10 years, you're okay, but you're coming up due for it. And certainly I would say, like I said, if you're going to be around anybody who's immunocompromised or a very young child, go ahead and get the update. It's fine.
All right.
When I hear the word measles, I immediately think of measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination because my mother was a nurse and she would always talk about that vaccination.
MMR?
Yes, but I feel like in recent years or in the last 10 or 15, the whole vaccination thing and parents stopped vaccinating their kids. Now there's an increase in measles we're seeing?
Yeah, and just as expected, right? You hit it right on the head. We saw a decrease in the number of kids who were vaccinated. And the decrease in vaccination is due to many things. Sometimes it's health-related. Sometimes it's just philosophical-related. And unfortunately, even here in the state of Illinois, our vaccination rate for kids is in the low 90s, 91%. Well, you need about 93 to 95% to make sure that you're protecting everybody. So it's not unusual that Illinois has a high number of measles cases again. As far as the state vaccination rate, we're okay. We're not as bad as places like Idaho, but certainly we can do a better job at vaccinating for those three illnesses that can be very life devastating for little kids.
But you only need to get the shot once, right?
Well, you get two shots. You get a shot at 12 months. You get another one right when you're going into first grade. So, but after that, absolutely, you don't need it again. This is a lifelong protection. Right. But measles is a worldwide issue that just shows us how important the vaccination rates are. We're protecting these kids where there's hundreds, if not thousands, of kids who dies from measles across the world because they don't have access to a vaccine.
Asthma, expensive drugs in regards to inhalers, in particular with asthma. Something being done about it?
Yeah, this just came out last week. And remember, if we probably talked, I don't know how long ago, it was about insulin costs and how it went crazy. And, the Inflation Reduction Act that President Biden has put in place is going to allow for people that have chronic illnesses that these medications that they need, where we have been taken advantage of, I will say, here in the United States, because medications that we're paying hundreds of dollars for are less expensive in many other countries. Well, that is going to stop, and the asthma medications, the inhalers that can save a kid's life, can save an adult's life, are now going to be capped at $35 a month out-of-pocket expense, which is great because these are the ones that, oh my gosh, he's having an asthma attack, he needs his inhaler, and if he doesn't have it, bad things can happen. So good that it's going to happen. The three main companies, two of them actually started on June 1st, and then the third is going to build it in sometime into the fall or right around the first of the year.
Dr. Mose, tattoos have been around forever and ever, but I feel like in the 90s, everybody just got tatted up, and it was a big, huge fashion statement. So tattoos everywhere on your body, and they continue to be a trend, and everyone's still getting tatted. But now you're saying that there could be long-term complications like cancer?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting, Jane, and you hit it on the head where you said, look at how many people have ink now. Look at how many people have tattoos. Used to be, if you went in the Army, you got a tattoo. But there are tattoo parlors everywhere. They're thought of as art. Well, Lund University in Sweden looked at these and said, hey, we see an increase in lymphoma rates. Why are the lymphoma rates going up? And what they found out was that there's a 20% increase in lymphoma when people have tattoos versus those who had no tattoos. Now, we know that lymphomas can go up because we get exposed to chemicals, whether it's benzene, whether it's herbicides. but we know that that happens with some chemicals. Now we need to look to see the chemicals that we know are carcinogens, which are in the ink. Is that what's causing this? So certainly need more study, but it's something that you got to take a step back and say, really, do I want to increase risk to make sure I have a tattoo of the Cubs on my shoulder? I mean, it's one that I'd really kind of take a look at.
Imagine how bad White Sox fans feel if that's the case right now.
I feel like, though, there was never a consequence to a tattoo besides your parents getting mad at you.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the tattoo. Like my father's tattoo that said true love to Audrey, and he was married to a woman named Sonia.
Yeah, that hurts. But we know when you get a tattoo, the immune response happens, right? We're taking a foreign body, we're injecting it under the skin, so we get an immune response. You can get swollen lymph nodes for a while, you get swelling in that area, and that's the part they're looking at going, wait, if this is causing that big of an immune response, is it going to potentially cause a bigger immune response long term where we end up with a lymphoma?
No, and that's where it gets all bad.
If you get your tattoo removed, does that then reverse your chances of lymphoma?
Well, it certainly helps because you're taking that foreign object out of your body that's causing the response. But it's really, and the interesting thing with the Sweden study is it showed that was in the first 3 years where they saw that increase. And if you look at lymphoma rates over the past 20, 30 years, they have gone up, and they've gone up in younger kids. I shouldn't say younger kids. They've gone up in younger adults, which is, again, that tattoo kind of time. So certainly something that is, and this was just published last week, so this is certainly going to get the attention here to get more controlled studies. We don't write down in the medical record, Joe has a tattoo. I mean, when you go to the dermatologist, they'll certainly capture it. But in Sweden, they have a great social medicine background with great information, and they can't capture things like that. So it's something that the medical field here is probably going to have to capture is, you got a tattoo, when did you get it? Just so we have those data points to see if this actually is the trend causing the increase in lymphoma.
The notes Dr. Most provides us with for these segments are attached to the podcast that goes up. What are the details on that, Miranda? Is she there?
WLSAM.com. It'll be up in the next 15 minutes or so.
All right, so we'll have the notes right there, right?
Yep.
All right, Doc. Great to have the ability to continue to exploit your education and your career. So,
hey, always good talking to you guys.
Thanks again for yesterday, and we'll talk to you later. That's Dr. Kevin Most.
Take care.
All right, 8 o'clock still to come. Circus Vasquez. Cicadas attacking Jane. Sound to play for you. And beef, over lab-grown beef. Before we get to the leftovers at the end of the show, news time now with Nick on WLS.